On a freezing night in Cleveland, former Navy SEAL Jack Mercer follows Milo, a 5-year-old black and tan German Shepherd, under a concrete bridge, and finds a mother German Shepherd trapped inside a heavy tire, a rusted chain still hooked like someone wanted winter to finish the job. The mother's eyes do not beg for help. The mother's eyes point to a storm drain where 5 tiny cries flicker in the dark, weaker with every breath. Then headlights sweep across the snow. A pickup truck rolls past too slowly, as if someone is counting minutes. Jack Mercer has seen war, but this is a different kind of battlefield. Because saving the dogs might mean exposing the people who put the mother there in the first place. Stay to the end to see what Jack Mercer does next. Please share this story. Comment what you would do in that moment, and subscribe for more rescue stories like this. The sound under the bridge. Cleveland wore winter like armor. The sky was a flat sheet of gray, the kind that made streetlights glow long before sunset. Jack Mercer moved through that cold with the same steadiness he had learned years ago. Tall, broad-shouldered, and quiet. A man who looked built for trouble, but lived like he was trying not to invite it. He wore the same thing every day now. A navy winter coat that fell to mid-thigh, a red and black plaid flannel beneath it, faded jeans, brown leather boots. Practical, familiar. The kind of uniform a man chose when he wanted the world to stop asking questions. Beside him walked Milo, a 5-year-old German Shepherd with black and tan fur, upright ears, and amber-brown eyes that missed nothing. Milo did not bark for attention. Milo watched. He listened. He saved his voice for what mattered. Jack worked nights as a security guard at a riverside shipping yard. It was not a glamorous job, but it paid, and it kept his mind busy. Some men drank to forget. Jack counted shadows and checked locks. That night, the storm came early. Snow whipped across the road like thrown salt. Jack and Milo took their usual shortcut near an old concrete bridge by a neglected service road. Milo slowed. Jack felt it before he heard it, something small and thin. A sound caught between a cry and a breath. Jack stopped. "Show me." Milo moved toward the underside of the bridge, stepping carefully over ice and broken gravel. Then the sound came again. A low, pleading whine. Not from Milo. From deeper in the dark. Jack turned on his flashlight. At first, all he saw was trash and wind-blown plastic. Then the beam hit fur. A German Shepherd mother was half buried in dirty snow, her body wedged inside a heavy tire like a cruel joke. The rubber ring hugged her ribs and hips so tight she could barely shift. A length of rusted chain was hooked to the tire, as if someone had wanted to make sure she stayed exactly where she was. Her ears tried to lift, but exhaustion dragged them down. Her eyes were still bright, though, not broken, just terrified. Jack crouched, keeping his voice low. "Easy. I'm not here to hurt you." The mother's lips pulled back for 1 second, not in aggression, but in warning. Then her gaze flicked behind Jack, past the snow, toward a storm drain. Jack followed her stare. A faint squeak answered, tiny as a match flare in a blizzard. Puppies. Jack's chest tightened. He had heard that sound once before, in another life. Not puppies. A radio call that meant someone was trapped and time was running out. He looked at Milo. Milo was still, alert, ready. Jack scanned the area. No footsteps except his own. No cars. But in the distance, a scrapyard fence leaned like tired teeth. a place where someone could dump a problem and expect Winter to finish the job. Jack took off his coat and spread it gently over the mother's shoulders, careful not to startle her. She flinched anyway, then leaned into the warmth as if her body made the choice before her fear could argue. "Hang on," Jack said. "We're getting you out." He tried to lift the tire. It barely moved. Too heavy. Too tight. Jack pulled out his phone, but the cold stole the battery faster than he liked. He called anyway. A local animal rescue line he had saved after Milo's first checkup. A woman answered, voice brisk but tired. "Lakefront Rescue, this is Marcia." Jack kept his voice steady. "I need help. A shepherd is trapped in a tire under the bridge near the East Bank Service Road. There are puppies." There was a pause. Then her tone changed. "Stay with her. Don't try to cut without proper tools. We're on our way." Jack ended the call. He looked at the drain again. The squeaks came in bursts, then stopped, as if the pups were running out of energy. Jack's mind clicked into old habits. Priorities, threats, time. He knelt by the drain, shining the light through the narrow opening. He saw two tiny faces pressed together, shaking. Another pup lay still at the back, barely moving. Jack swallowed. "Milo, stay." Milo stayed, body angled toward the mother, guarding her with quiet certainty. Jack pulled a glove from his pocket and reached into the drain as far as he could. The nearest pup tried to bite, a weak little snap. Jack almost smiled despite himself. "That's good," he whispered. "Keep that fight." He could not reach them, not safely, not like this. He stood, the snow stinging his cheeks. And in the distance, a truck engine started, somewhere behind the scrapyard. Jack did not move closer to the road. He did not wave. He did not make a scene. He simply put himself between the sound and the mother dog. Because the storm was not the only danger tonight. Tools, teeth, and trust. The rescue van arrived like a lighthouse on wheels. 2 volunteers jumped out first, bundled in heavy coats. Marcia Klein followed, short, tough, and moving fast. Jack gave a quick report, precise and calm. Marcia looked at him, then at Milo, then at the trapped mother. "She's lucky you found her," Marcia said. Jack's mouth tightened. "Lucky isn't the word I'd use." The mother's eyes stayed on the storm drain. She did not look away, not once. Marcia nodded toward her. "That's a good mom." They started with the basics: warm blankets, water offered in small sips, a calming voice. The mother drank, then coughed, then tried to shift inside the tire. Pain flashed across her face. One volunteer brought a jack and a pry bar. Another set up a portable heat pad to fight the cold. Jack stayed close but not crowding. He let Marcia lead, yet he watched every motion. He had seen what panic could do to a trapped body. Milo stayed quiet, ears up, eyes steady. He did not challenge the mother, but his presence seemed to tell her something simple. You are not alone. They tried lifting the tire with the jack. The rubber creaked. The chain rattled. The mother flinched and tried to pull back. Jack dropped his voice. Easy. Breathe. She froze, then slowly relaxed. It was not trust, not yet, but it was a pause, a choice. Marcia glanced at Jack. She's listening to you. Jack did not answer. His throat felt tight. They needed to cut the tire, but cutting rubber near skin was dangerous. Marcia decided on a careful approach, widening the opening just enough. While they worked, Jack kept thinking about the chain. Someone had brought that chain here on purpose. Someone had clipped it like they were securing cargo. A pickup truck rolled by on the service road. Slow. Too slow. Jack stood up, shoulders square, and faced the road without moving toward it. The truck did not stop, but Jack caught a glimpse of a man behind the wheel, watching. Milo's posture changed. Not aggressive, just ready. The truck drove on. Marcia noticed. "You know him?" "I don't," Jack said. "But he knows this spot." They cut. A careful slice. Then another. The tire slowly opened like a stubborn jaw. The mother dog trembled. Her breath came in harsh pulls. Jack kept one hand on the blanket over her back. Not pressing, just there. Finally, with a last controlled pry, the tire gave. The mother slid out on trembling legs and immediately tried to stand, not for herself, but to turn toward the drain. Her body swayed. She almost collapsed. Jack caught her with his forearm, gentle but firm. "Not yet. We're getting them." Marcia took a flashlight and a small snare pole meant for safety, not force. She lowered herself by the drain and spoke softly. Jack lay flat on the snow, arm reaching in again. His fingers brushed fur. A pup squealed. "Got you," Jack whispered. One by one, they coaxed the puppies out. 5 in total, tiny, shaking, and hungry. The last pup was limp, breathing so shallow it barely moved the ribs. Marcia scooped that one up fast. "We go now!" The mother tried to follow, stumbling, then pushing forward anyway. She let out a low cry, not loud, but deep. A sound that carried more than fear. Jack opened the back of his car and laid his coat inside to make a nest. Marcia placed the puppies carefully. The mother climbed in after them, curling around them with a desperate tenderness. Jack looked at Milo. "Up." Milo jumped in beside the crate area, sitting like a sentry. Marcia touched Jack's arm. "Come with us. She's calmer with you." Jack hesitated. He did not like hospitals, not for people, not for memories. But he looked at the mother dog. Her eyes locked on her pups like she was holding the world together with her will. He nodded. "I'm coming." As they drove, the city lights smeared in the wet glass. Jack kept his eyes on the road, but his mind kept returning to that chain. Someone had done this. And Jack Mercer had never been good at walking away from injustice. A vet's hand, a mother's grief. The emergency animal clinic smelled like antiseptic and wet fur. Bright lights, fast steps, quiet urgency. Dr. Naomi Reyes met them at the door. Mid-40s, calm eyes, quick hands. She spoke with the steady confidence of someone who had seen too much and still chose compassion every day. "Mother first," Naomi said, then glanced at the puppies. "And we keep them warm. Now." The mother dog was weighed, checked, and examined. Dehydrated, bruising along the ribs and hips, cuts from the tire's inner edge. Exhaustion so deep it looked like sleep could swallow her whole. The weakest puppy went straight to oxygen support. Jack sat in the waiting area, still in his navy coat and flannel, boots leaving small puddles on the floor. Milo lay at his feet, eyes open, ears angled toward every sound. Marcia paced. "We can cover some costs, but not all. The clinic is already doing a discount." Jack reached into his wallet and pulled out a worn stack of bills. Not a dramatic gesture, just a choice. Marcia's eyebrows lifted. "You don't have to." Jack's voice was low. "Yes, I do." Naomi returned after what felt like an hour. She spoke carefully. The mother will recover if she rests and eats. The pups are... 4 are stable. 1 is critical. Jack's jaw tightened. What are the odds? Naomi did not soften it. Not good. We will try. Jack nodded once. He had lived with odds before. He hated them every time. They set the mother in a quiet room with a blanket and a heating pad. The pups were placed close, and the mother immediately nosed each one, counting. 1 was missing. She lifted her head and let out a soft, searching whine. Naomi knelt beside her. We're helping the smallest. He's fighting. The mother did not understand the words, but she understood the tone. She lowered her head, then pressed her nose to the remaining pups, as if promising them she would not fail again. Jack stood at the door. He did not go in. He did not want to crowd her, but he spoke anyway. You did everything you could, he said quietly. Marcia looked at him like she knew he was not only talking to the dog. Later, Naomi pulled Jack aside. We found microchip scars on her neck. Not a chip, but marks where a collar rubbed too hard for too long. Someone kept her chained. She was not a stray by accident. Jack's eyes went cold. Naomi continued. We also found grease and metal dust on the tire. Scrapyard residue. If you want to report it, you can. Jack's gaze went to the window, where the city sat under snow like a burden. I'll report it. Marcia exhaled. Police don't always move fast on animal cases. Jack's voice stayed even. Then I will. That night, the smallest puppy's breathing worsened. Naomi and her team worked quietly, hands moving with practiced speed. Jack sat in the waiting room, still as stone. Milo rested his head on Jack's boot, a small weight that kept Jack anchored. Naomi returned near dawn. Her eyes told the truth before her mouth did. I'm sorry, she said. He didn't make it. Jack closed his eyes. The loss hit like a silent blow. He had seen men fall. He had carried friends. He had made peace with some kinds of grief. But this was different. This was innocence. This was a life that never had a chance to become anything else. The mother dog sensed it the moment Naomi carried the tiny body into the room. She did not howl. She did not lash out. She sniffed him once, then again, then pressed her nose to his head and held still. A long, trembling stillness. Jack stood in the doorway, hands clenched inside his coat pockets. The mother finally lifted her head and looked at Jack. There was no blame in her eyes, only a question. Why? Jack swallowed hard. I don't know, he whispered. But I know this. It ends now. He left the clinic before the sun fully rose and stepped into the cold morning air. His limp was more noticeable when he was angry. And Jack Mercer was very, very angry. The scrapyard men. The scrapyard sat on the edge of the river, like a wound that never healed. Chain-link fences, piles of metal, cameras mounted too high for comfort. The kind of place that pretended to be boring on purpose. Jack did not storm in. He never stormed in. He watched first. He parked 2 streets away and walked the perimeter with Milo, moving like a man who knew how to disappear even in daylight. He found the service road that cut behind the yard. He found tire tracks near the bridge, fresh, the same pattern as the yard's heavy trucks. He took photos. He marked times. He called a non-emergency police line and filed a report. Then he waited. That afternoon, Officer Ben Carter met him near the bridge. Ben was mid-30s, tired eyes, decent heart. He listened without interrupting. "You're telling me someone chained a dog into a tire and dumped her," Ben said slowly. "Yes," Jack said, "and they watched when we found her." Ben rubbed his face. "I can open a case, but I need proof that ties it directly to a person." Jack handed him the photos. "Start with the yard. Look for the chain. Look for the tire cut marks. Look for camera footage." Ben glanced at Milo. "Your dog. He's trained." Jack's mouth twitched, almost a smile. "He's smart." Ben lowered his voice. "Be careful. Those yards have guys who don't like questions." Jack's voice stayed calm. "I don't like cruelty." That night, Jack returned. Snow fell lightly, softening sound. The yard was quieter after dark, but not asleep. Lights moved. A truck engine ran. Jack kept to the shadows. Milo walked at his side like a silent partner. Then Jack saw it. Behind a stack of metal, a small kennel area. Not a proper one, makeshift pens, thin blankets, a water bowl turned over. And inside one pen, a dog that looked too thin and too scared. Jack's stomach turned. This was not a one-time act. This was a habit. A man stepped out of a shed, smoking. He laughed at something someone said inside. He kicked a bucket near the pens like it was entertainment. Jack's hands tightened. He could have done something reckless. He could have stepped in and made it physical. But he did not. Not yet. He pulled back and left without being seen. Because Jack Mercer did not want a fight. He wanted justice. The next day, Ben called. "We got a warrant for inspection," he said, "but it'll take time. The system moves slow." Jack looked at the clinic receipt in his hand. He remembered the mother's stillness over the lost pup. "Time is what they count on," Jack said. Ben hesitated. "What are you thinking?" Jack's voice was quiet. "I'm thinking we do it right, and we do it now." That evening, Jack returned with Ben, 2 animal control officers, and Marcia from Lakefront Rescue. The yard manager, Derek Voss, met them at the gate with a smile that did not reach his eyes. Mid-40s, clean boots, hands too soft for a man who claimed to move scrap all day. "What's this about?" Derek asked. Ben showed the papers. "Inspection." Derek's smile tightened. "You're wasting time." Jack stood behind Ben, navy coat still on, red and black flannel visible, boots planted. Milo sat beside him, still as a statue. Derek's gaze flicked to Milo, then to Jack. Something changed in his expression. Recognition. Jack saw it. Derek knew exactly who had found the mother dog. They walked the yard. Derek tried to steer them away from the pens, talking too much, moving too fast. Marcia said sharply, "Show us the kennel area." Derek's jaw clenched. "It's just strays. We feed them." Jack's voice cut through. Calm, cold. "No, you don't." They reached the pens. Animal control officer started documenting. Ben's face hardened. Derek's smile broke. "This is harassment." Then Naomi Reyes arrived, holding a small plastic bag. "Chain fragments," she said to Ben. "From the mother dog. Grease matches this yard's residue." Derek took one step back. Jack watched him carefully. "Where did you dump her?" Derek's eyes flashed. "I don't know what you're talking about." Ben moved in. "You do." Derek's voice rose. You can't prove anything. Jack leaned slightly closer, not threatening with posture, but with truth. You already did. You watched us under the bridge. Derek's face went pale. Ben signaled. Take him. Derek tried to twist away. Milo stood, ears up, body ready. Jack said one word. Stay. Milo stayed. Derek was cuffed. The pens were opened. Dogs were removed. Records were seized. The yard's cameras were taken for review. When it was over, Ben looked at Jack. You didn't do anything illegal. Jack's voice was flat. I didn't need to. Marcia let out a breath that sounded like relief and rage at once. We got them. Jack looked at Milo, then at the falling snow. He had not saved everyone, but he had stopped the next cruelty. And sometimes, that was how redemption began. Home is a warm place. The mother dog stayed at the rescue clinic for days. Her body healed faster than anyone expected. Her spirit took longer. She ate slowly, always leaving a mouthful near her puppies, as if she still feared food might disappear. 4 pups survived. They gained weight, their eyes opening wider each day. They learned to wobble walk. They learned to yap in tiny squeaks that sounded like broken toys. One afternoon, a puppy toddled toward Milo and tried to bite his paw. Milo looked at Jack as if to ask permission to laugh. Jack's mouth finally curved. Careful, he told Milo. That one's fierce. Milo sniffed the pup gently, then lay down so the pup could climb over his foreleg like it was a mountain. Marcia watched, arms crossed. You dog's a good influence. Jack shrugged. He's better than I am. Marcia gave him a look. Stop that. Jack did not argue. But later, when he was alone with the mother dog, he spoke softly. You lost one, he said. I know what that feels like. The mother dog's ears flicked. Her eyes stayed on her pups. But she leaned her head against Jack's boot for one brief second. It was not a big gesture. It was everything. Naomi handled the medical plans. Marcia handled the rescue paperwork. Ben handled the legal case. Derek Voss faced multiple charges, and the yard's cruelty history started to unravel under scrutiny. And Jack, the man who had spent years thinking he was only good for controlled violence, started doing something else. He started coming by every day. He brought clean blankets. He repaired a broken kennel latch. He learned how to mix puppy formula without making a mess. He failed at first, and Marcia laughed at him. You're terrifying, she told him, and you can't pour milk. Jack deadpanned. I've had worse reviews. Even Naomi smiled. As adoption day approached, the rescue organized a small event. Family came in warm coats and mittens, smiling at the pups like they were little miracles. Jack stood in the corner, uncomfortable with the tension. Milo stayed at his side, calm as always. A woman named Hannah Brooks arrived with a knitted hat pulled low and a kindness in her face that looked practiced. She was a school counselor, the kind of person who listened for a living. She crouched by the mother dog. Hi, Hannah whispered. You're safe. The mother dog watched her for a long moment. Then she stepped forward and sniffed Hannah's hands. Hannah's eyes filled, but she did not reach too fast. She let the dog choose. Jack saw that and felt something shift. Not romance. Not yet. Something quieter. Hope. The pups were adopted into 2 homes. Good homes, screened carefully. Marcia did not play around. The mother dog was the last decision. Hannah looked at Jack. She's bonded to you. Jack's throat tightened. She needs her own person. I'm not easy. Hannah's smile was gentle. Neither am I. The mother dog walked to Jack, pressed her head against his knee, then turned and walked to Hannah. It was like she was saying, I trust you to let me go. Jack blinked hard. He did not want to cry in a room full of strangers. Marcia saw his face and muttered, Oh, for the love of God, just feel something. Jack let out a rough laugh, half pain, half relief. Hannah signed the papers. The mother dog left with her, and Jack watched until the door closed. That night, Jack stood on the bridge where it all started. Snow fell softly. The river moved black beneath it. Milo sat beside him, warm breath rising in the cold. Jack spoke quietly. We did what we could. Milo's ears flicked as if agreeing. Jack looked up at the gray sky. And tomorrow, we do it again. Not because we have to, because we choose to. He turned, boots crunching in the snow, navy coat shifting in the wind. A man walking home, not from war, from a life that finally felt worth living. Miracles do not always arrive with thunder or bright lights. Sometimes they come quietly, like an unseen hand placing the right person in the right place at the right time. On that snowy night in Cleveland, a man who thought his heart had hardened after war still heard a fragile cry under a bridge. And a mother dog, worn down to the bone, kept holding her puppies like she was holding hope itself. If that is not God's will reminding us of love and responsibility, then what is? In everyday life, everyone gets tired. Everyone has days that feel too heavy to carry. But sometimes God sends a small sign, a pair of eyes asking for help, a soft call in the dark, a chance to choose what is right. Not everyone becomes a hero in a big, dramatic way. Often, kindness is simply stopping for one more minute, helping one more time, speaking one gentle word when someone is close to breaking. And those small choices can change the direction of a life. If this story touched you, please share it to spread kindness. Comment and tell me about a small miracle you have seen in your own life. And subscribe so you do not miss the next story. May God bless you and your family with peace and protection.